The shocking betrayal. The message that shattered everything. The champagne was still cold in Vanessa Chen's hand when her phone buzzed with the message that would destroy her life. She stood in the hallway of the Grand Meridian Hotel, her wedding dress rustling against marble floors, staring at 3 words that made her stomach drop. Check his pocket. Welcome to Heartfire Obsession. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Vanessa's fingers trembled as she read the anonymous text again. Outside the bridal suite, she could hear laughter, music, the sound of 200 guests celebrating a marriage that hadn't even happened yet. In 30 minutes, she would walk down the aisle to marry Marcus Aldrich, the man she'd loved for 5 years, the man who'd promised her forever under the cherry blossoms in their favorite park, the man whose tuxedo jacket hung on the back of the suite door, just 10 feet away. The secret in the silk lining. Her heart hammered as she crossed the room. This was insane. She was being paranoid. Marcus loved her. He'd proposed on one knee in front of both their families. He'd cried when she said yes. This was just wedding day jitters, some cruel prank from someone jealous of their happiness. But her hands were already reaching for the jacket. The first pocket held his wallet, keys, the usual things. The second pocket was empty. She almost laughed with relief, feeling foolish for doubting him. Then her fingers brushed against something in the inner breast pocket, something that crinkled like paper but felt heavier, more substantial. She pulled out an envelope. Cream-colored, expensive. The kind you'd use for wedding invitations, ironically. It wasn't sealed. Inside was a single photograph and a handwritten note. The photograph showed Marcus, with her cousin Julia, kissing in what looked like Julia's apartment, the distinctive purple velvet couch unmistakable in the background. Julia wore the bridesmaid dress Vanessa had helped her pick out just 2 weeks ago. The note, in Julia's looping handwriting, read, "One last time before you're hers forever. Though we both know you'll always be mine. See you at the reception, my love. Try not to stare." The bride who couldn't breathe. Vanessa's knees buckled. She caught herself on the vanity, knocking over a bottle of perfume that shattered on the floor. The scent of jasmine and betrayal filled the air. 5 years. 5 years of believing in something that was a lie. Every dinner with Julia where Marcus had been so careful to treat her like family. Every holiday gathering where they'd all laugh together. Every bridesmaid dress fitting where Julia had hugged her and called her the luckiest girl alive. How long had this been going on? Weeks? Months? Years? The door opened. Her mother, Eleanor Chun, swept in wearing her jade green mother of the bride dress, her face glowing with joy. "Darling, they're ready to start. They're just..." "Vanessa? What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." Vanessa couldn't speak. She held up the photograph with shaking hands. Eleanor's face went white, then red, then white again. "That little..." She grabbed the photo, studying it with the intensity of a detective examining evidence. "That little snake. And Marcus. Oh, Marcus." Her voice dropped to something dangerous. "I never liked how he looked at Julia. I told your father, but he said I was being overprotective. The choice that changed everything. Mom, what do I do?" Vanessa heard her own voice, small and broken, like a child's. Eleanor's eyes, usually so warm, turned to ice. "You have 200 guests downstairs. The Aldrich family spent $50,000 on this wedding. Marcus's father is running for state senate. The press is outside." She paused, her business mind clearly working through scenarios. "And you have evidence of the kind of scandal that could ruin them all. I can't marry him." "Of course you can't." Eleanor's smile was sharp enough to cut glass. "But you can make him think you will. Until the perfect moment." Vanessa looked at her mother, seeing something she'd never noticed before. The same woman who'd built a real estate empire from nothing, who'd outnegotiated ruthless developers and won, was looking at her daughter not with pity, but with recognition. The recognition of one warrior to another. "What are you saying?" Eleanor picked up the shattered perfume bottle, wrapped it carefully in tissue, and tucked it into her purse along with the photograph and note. "I'm saying that revenge, darling, is a dish best served at the altar, in front of everyone they know, with perfect timing and undeniable proof." The performance begins. Vanessa's hand stopped shaking. Something cold and clear settled over her, like ice water crystallizing into purpose. She looked at herself in the mirror. The Vera Wang dress, the cathedral veil, the makeup that had taken 2 hours to perfect. She looked like every bride's dream. She was about to become Marcus's nightmare. "Help me fix my makeup," she said quietly. "I smudged it." Eleanor smiled, proud and fierce. "That's my girl." 20 minutes later, Vanessa stood at the back of the grand ballroom, her arm linked through her father's. The wedding march began. 200 faces turned to look at her, smiling, dabbing at tears, holding up phones to capture the moment. In the front row, Julia sat in her lavender bridesmaid dress, looking angelic and innocent. She caught Vanessa's eye and gave her a warm smile, a little wave. In that moment, Vanessa understood that Julia thought she'd won. She thought she'd stolen Marcus and gotten away with it. She thought she was watching her cousin walk stupidly toward a marriage that would always have Julia's shadow in it. At the altar, Marcus stood in his tuxedo, the same jacket that had held his secrets. He looked nervous but happy. When he saw Vanessa, his face lit up with what looked like genuine love. Had any of it been real? Had he ever loved her? Or had she been convenient while Julia was unavailable? It didn't matter now. The vows that weren't. The ceremony proceeded like a play. Vanessa said her lines. Marcus said his, voice thick with emotion that might have been genuine or might have been guilt. The officiant spoke about love and commitment and forsaking all others. Forsaking all others. The words hung in the air like an accusation. When they reached the vows, Vanessa held Marcus's hands and looked into his eyes. "Marcus," she began, her voice clear and steady. "5 years ago, you promised me honesty. You promised me loyalty. You promised me that you would never, ever break my heart." Marcus nodded, squeezing her hands, thinking this was part of their personal vows. "I did, and I meant it. I believe you meant it when you said it," Vanessa continued. "But promises are only as strong as the person making them." A murmur went through the crowd. This wasn't sounding like typical wedding vows. Marcus's smile faltered slightly. Vanessa reached into her bouquet where her mother had hidden the photograph. "So before I promise you forever, I need you to explain something to me. In front of all these people. In front of God and our families." She held up the photograph. The moment of truth. The gasp that went through the crowd sounded like wine through dead leaves. Marcus went gray, then green. In the front row, Julia stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. "Vanessa, I can explain," Marcus started. "Explain?" Vanessa's laugh was hollow. "Explain how you were sleeping with my cousin 2 weeks before our wedding? Explain how she was brazen enough to write you a love note about it? Explain how you kept this in your pocket on our wedding day, like some kind of sick trophy." Eleanor stood up, holding her phone high. "For those in the back who can't see, I'm projecting it now." The photograph appeared on the reception screens meant for their wedding video. Julia tried to run. Marcus's brother, standing as best man, blocked the aisle, his face twisted with disgust. "Stay where you are, Julia. Let's all hear this explanation." Marcus reached for Vanessa. "Baby, please. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. She pursued me. I was weak, but I love you. I love only you. You love me." Vanessa pulled away from him like he was poison. "You don't even know what love is. Love isn't sneaking around with someone's family. Love isn't betrayal. Love isn't making a fool of someone while pretending to build a life with them." She turned to face the crowd, to face all the people who'd come to celebrate what they thought was a fairy tale. "There will be no wedding today, but there will be consequences. The price of betrayal." Marcus's father, Senator-elect Robert Aldrich, stood up, his political smile gone, replaced by cold fury directed at his son. "Marcus, my office. Now. Dad, I can fix this." "You can't fix anything." Robert's voice could have cut steel. "You've embarrassed this family in front of half of Connecticut's elite. The Chens. The press. Everyone." He looked at Vanessa with something like respect. "Miss Chun, you have my sincere apologies. And my assurance that there will be accountability." Julia finally found her voice, shrill and defensive. "Vanessa, you're overreacting. It was just physical. You were always so busy with work. He was lonely. Get out." Vanessa's mother's voice rang through the ballroom. "Get out of this hotel. You're no longer welcome in this family. Pack your things from our guest house. If you're not gone by tonight, I'll have you arrested for trespassing." "Aunt Eleanor, you can't be serious." "I'm dead serious. You betrayed my daughter. In my culture, family loyalty is everything. You've proven you have none. You're dead to us." Vanessa's father, usually quiet and gentle, spoke up for the first time. The trust fund we set up for your education and business? Consider it revoked. The car we co-signed for? We're taking it back. The job at our company? Terminated. You made your choice, Julia. Now live with it. The walk away. Vanessa handed her bouquet to her mother, unclipped her veil, and let it fall to the floor. She kicked off her heels, the Louboutins that had cost more than some people's cars. They clattered across the marble, sounding like punctuation marks at the end of a sentence. Ms. Chun, wait. A voice from the crowd. David Torres, Marcus's college roommate, stood up. He looked uncomfortable but determined. I need to tell you something. This wasn't the first time. There have been others. I kept quiet because I thought it was none of my business, but you deserve to know the truth. Marcus has been cheating on you for at least 2 years. Julia is just the most recent. The ballroom exploded into shocked conversation. Marcus lunged at David, but the best man and 2 groomsmen held him back. Vanessa felt nothing. The numbness was almost peaceful. She'd imagined feeling devastated, broken, shattered. Instead, she felt clear, focused, free. She walked down the aisle, barefoot, in her wedding dress, past the flowers and the faces and the wreckage of what was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Her parents flanked her, protective and proud. At the ballroom doors, she turned back one last time. Marcus, Julia, I hope you're very happy together. You deserve each other. Then she walked out into the sunshine, into her new life, with her head held high. But as the hotel doors closed behind her, she made herself a promise. This wasn't over. Walking away was just the beginning. They'd taken 5 years of her life. They'd humiliated her in front of everyone she knew. They'd made her doubt herself, her judgment, her worth. She would make them pay for every single second of it. And she knew exactly how to start. Heartbreak and revenge. The morning after the altar, Vanessa woke up in her childhood bedroom, still wearing her wedding dress. Sunlight streamed through lace curtains she'd picked out at age 14, back when she believed in fairy tales and happily ever afters. Her phone showed 73 missed calls, 214 texts, and 17 voicemails. She deleted them all without looking. Her mother knocked softly and entered with coffee and croissants, the same breakfast she'd made for Vanessa before every big exam, every important presentation, every moment that mattered. The press is having a field day, Eleanor said, setting down the tray. But in a good way. You're being called brave, powerful, a woman who refused to settle. I don't feel powerful. I feel hollow. Eleanor sat on the bed, smoothing the tulle of the dress. Hollow is where you start building something new, something stronger. She pulled out her tablet. I've been doing research. Marcus's father is vulnerable right now. The election is in 3 months. The Aldrich family's reputation is everything to them. Mom, I don't want to think about revenge right now. Good. Because this isn't about revenge. Eleanor's eyes were sharp. This is about justice. About making sure they face consequences. And about protecting other women from Marcus's lies. She swiped through several articles. Do you know how many women he dated before you? 12. Do you know how many he cheated on? All of them. Vanessa sat up. How did you find that out? I hired a private investigator yesterday morning. I had a feeling something was wrong. Eleanor smiled grimly. Mother's intuition. Plus, I saw Julia leaving Marcus's apartment 6 months ago. I didn't have proof then. Now I do. The evidence accumulates. Over the next 3 days, Vanessa learned things about Marcus she wished she could unknow. The investigator, a sharp-eyed woman named Rita Pacheco, compiled a dossier that read like a thriller novel. Marcus had been cheating since month 3 of their relationship. Different women in different cities whenever he traveled for work. He'd used burner phones, secret credit cards, and elaborate lies. He'd told one woman Vanessa was his sister. He'd told another that Vanessa was his ex who wouldn't leave him alone. Julia wasn't special. She was just convenient and willing. The worst part was the timeline. While Vanessa had been planning their future, picking out paint colors for their first home, discussing baby names, Marcus had been living an entirely different life. A life where she was the obligation and everyone else was the excitement. Why didn't he just break up with me? Vanessa asked Rita during one of their meetings. Rita didn't sugarcoat it. You were respectable, educated, from a good family. You look perfect in photos. His father loved you. Breaking up would have meant answering questions. Staying with you while doing whatever he wanted meant having his cake and eating it too. So I was a prop. You were a victim of a narcissist. There's a difference. The unexpected ally. The knock on the Chin family's front door came on a Thursday afternoon. Vanessa almost didn't answer, still hiding from the world, still processing. But something made her look through the peephole. David Torres stood on the doorstep, holding a folder and looking nervous. She opened the door. You're the last person I expected to see. I know. I'm probably the last person you want to see. David shifted his weight. But I have information you need. Can I come in? They sat in the sunroom, the space filled with her mother's orchids and the awkward silence of two people connected only by betrayal. David opened the folder. These are text messages between Marcus and me over the last 3 years. I downloaded them before he could convince me to delete them. He spread them across the coffee table. I should have spoken up sooner. I should have told you years ago. I was a coward, and I'm sorry. Vanessa read through them, her stomach churning. Marcus bragging about his conquests. Marcus laughing about how easy it was to fool her. Marcus asking David to cover for him, to provide alibis, to lie. Why did you help him? David looked ashamed. Because he was my friend. Because I told myself it wasn't my business. Because I'm not a good person. He paused. But at that altar, watching you stand there, seeing your face when you held up that photo, I realized I'd been complicit in something awful. I can't undo it, but I can help you make sure it matters. What do you mean? Marcus's father is running on a family values platform. Integrity, honesty, old-fashioned morality. The hypocrisy is staggering. David pulled out another document. I work in opposition research now. I know how to make information public in ways that matter. If you want to ensure Marcus faces real consequences, if you want to protect his future victims, I can help you. The plan takes shape. Over the next 2 weeks, Vanessa assembled her team. Her mother, with her business connections and strategic mind. Rita Pacheco, with her investigative skills and contacts. David Torres, with his knowledge of political machinery and media manipulation. And surprisingly, 3 of Marcus's ex-girlfriends who came forward after seeing the wedding disaster on social media. They met in Eleanor's home office, surrounded by evidence and empty coffee cups. The plan they developed was elegant in its simplicity and devastating in its potential impact. We don't leak everything at once, David explained, drawing a timeline on the whiteboard. We drip it out strategically. First, we establish a pattern. The cheating wasn't isolated, it was habitual. Then we show the lies, the gaslighting, the manipulation. Then we connect it to his father's campaign, show the hypocrisy. By the time we're done, Robert Aldridge will have to choose between his son and his political career. And Marcus? Vanessa asked quietly. Marcus will be exactly what he deserves to be, Rita said. Exposed. Unemployable at any reputable firm. A cautionary tale. One of the ex-girlfriends, a lawyer named Simone, spoke up. This isn't just about revenge. What Marcus did to all of us. That's a pattern of psychological abuse. He love-bombed us, isolated us, made us doubt our own reality. That's textbook manipulation. Other women need to know what he's capable of. The first strike. The first article dropped on a Friday evening, perfectly timed to dominate the weekend news cycle. A respected lifestyle journalist, fed information anonymously, published a piece titled "The Man Behind the Altar Disaster, a Pattern of Deception." It didn't mention Marcus by name, but it didn't have to. Everyone knew who the prominent Connecticut businessman's son was. The article detailed 3 relationships where the unnamed man had cheated repeatedly, gaslit his partners, and showed no remorse. By Saturday morning, Marcus's Instagram had been deleted. His LinkedIn profile disappeared. His employer, a prestigious investment firm where his father had connections, issued a terse statement. We've parted ways with Mr. Aldridge by mutual agreement. Marcus called Vanessa 60 times that day. She blocked his number after the first 3 voicemails, which progressed from apologetic to angry to desperately pleading. Julia tried to reach out through mutual friends, claiming she'd been manipulated by Marcus too. Vanessa's response, delivered through her mother, was short. Actions have consequences. Learn to live with yours. The complication of feeling. But late at night, alone in her room, Vanessa felt the grief she'd been holding back. Not grief for Marcus, the man he'd turned out to be. Grief for the Marcus she'd thought she loved. The future she'd imagined. The version of herself who'd believed in that fairy tale. She cried into her pillow, muffling the sound so her parents wouldn't hear. She looked at old photos on her laptop, photos of happier times that now felt like evidence of her own blindness. Had there been signs she'd missed? Red flags she'd ignored? The answer is probably yes, Rita told her gently when Vanessa asked during one of their meetings. But that doesn't make any of this your fault. Skilled manipulators know how to hide their true nature. You saw what he wanted you to see. I feel stupid. You're not stupid. You're human. There's a difference. The unexpected turn. 3 weeks after the wedding disaster, Vanessa received a message from an unknown number. We need to talk. There's something about Marcus you don't know. Something that changes everything. Sophia Aldrich, Marcus's sister, the one member of his family who hadn't been at the wedding, who'd sent a brief, mysterious note saying she couldn't attend due to personal reasons. Vanessa showed the message to her mother. Eleanor frowned. It could be a trap, or it could be the truth. Vanessa typed back, coffee, public place, tomorrow at noon, Luna Cafe on Maple Street. The next day, Vanessa arrived early, chose a table with a clear view of the exits, and waited. Sophia Aldrich walked in exactly at noon, looking nothing like her polished family. She wore ripped jeans, a leather jacket, and had purple streaks in her dark hair. She looked like rebellion personified. I almost didn't come, Sophia said, sitting down without preamble. My family would disown me if they knew I was here. But after seeing what my brother did to you, I couldn't stay silent anymore. What do you need to tell me? Sophia pulled out her phone, opened a video file. This is from 5 years ago, right before Marcus met you. She pressed play. The video showed Marcus at what looked like a family dinner. His father was speaking, his voice sharp with disapproval. You need to settle down, Marcus. Find a nice girl from a good family. Someone respectable. Someone who'll make you look serious. The company needs stability, and so does your reputation after that disaster with the Henderson girl. Marcus, younger but recognizable, nodded. I understand, Dad. I'll handle it. See that you do. And Marcus? I don't care if you love her. I care if she makes us look good. The video ended. Vanessa felt sick. You were selected, Sophia said quietly. Like a business merger. My father wanted Marcus to marry well to rehabilitate his image before the political campaign. You were perfect on paper. Educated, beautiful, from a respected family, no scandals. You were never supposed to be loved. You were supposed to be displayed. The truth deepens. Why are you telling me this? Sophia's eyes were fierce. Because my family is toxic. Because my father grooms us to be perfect little robots for his political ambitions. Because I got out, but I see what they do to people, and I won't be silent anymore. She paused. And because you deserve to know that what Marcus did to you wasn't personal. He's incapable of real love. Our father trained it out of him. That doesn't excuse anything. No, it doesn't. But it explains it. And it gives you leverage. Sophia pulled out a flash drive. This contains financial records showing my father paid off at least 2 of Marcus's ex-girlfriends to stay quiet. Hush money to protect the family image. If this comes out during the campaign, it's over for him. Vanessa stared at the flash drive like it was a weapon. Which, in a way, it was. Why are you giving this to me? Because someone needs to stop them. Because I'm tired of watching my family destroy people and face no consequences. Because maybe if the empire crumbles, my mother can finally leave him. Sophia stood up. Use it however you want. I'll deny we ever met if anyone asks. But do something with it, Vanessa. Make it count. She walked out, leaving Vanessa holding the key to destroying the entire Aldrich family. The moral dilemma. That night, Vanessa's team gathered again. The flash drive contents were displayed on Eleanor's large monitor. Financial records. Email exchanges. Signed NDAs. Evidence of a systematic cover-up spanning years. This is bigger than Marcus, David said, his voice awed. This is corruption. Witness tampering. Potential campaign finance violations. This could bring down Senator-elect Aldrich before he even takes office. Should it? Vanessa asked quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. I mean, yes, they're terrible people. Yes, they covered up Marcus's behavior. But do I want to be responsible for destroying an entire family? For potentially impacting all the people who work for Aldrich Industries? For derailing what might otherwise be good policy work? Eleanor spoke first. Darling, this isn't about being vindictive. This is about accountability. How many other women did they silence? How many other victims are out there? Simone added. And if Robert Aldrich becomes a senator with this kind of character, what else will he cover up? What other abuses of power will he enable? Rita was more pragmatic. You're thinking of this as your responsibility. It's not. They created this situation. They made these choices. You're just pulling back the curtain. The decision. Vanessa spent that night walking through her mother's garden, thinking about justice versus revenge, about consequences and collateral damage. She thought about all the women Marcus had hurt. She thought about Sophia, brave enough to betray her family for what was right. She thought about the Vanessa who'd stood at that altar 3 weeks ago, and the Vanessa she was becoming. By sunrise, she knew what she had to do. She called her team. We release it. All of it. But we do it strategically, and we do it for the right reasons. We contact every woman they paid off and offer them a chance to speak if they want to. We make sure the story is about their abuse of power, not just about my personal revenge. We give them a chance to respond, to come clean on their own terms. If they don't, then we go public. You're giving them an out? David asked, surprised. I'm giving them a choice. The same choice they never gave any of us. They can tell the truth themselves, or the truth will be told for them. Either way, the truth comes out. Eleanor smiled. You're a better person than they deserve. Maybe, Vanessa said. But I'm not doing this to be better than them. I'm doing this to be better than who I was before. The person who didn't ask questions, who trusted too easily, who ignored her instincts. That person died at the altar. This person fights back. The confrontation. The letter was delivered to Robert Aldridge's campaign headquarters on a Monday morning. It was formal, respectful, and absolutely devastating. It laid out the evidence, gave him 72 hours to respond or withdraw from the race, and made clear that multiple women were prepared to go public with their stories. Robert called within 2 hours. Ms. Chun, we need to meet. No, we don't. You need to decide what kind of man you want to be remembered as. You're destroying my family. No, Senator. Your family destroyed itself. I'm just the one brave enough to say it out loud. 60 hours later, Robert Aldridge held a press conference. He announced he was withdrawing from the Senate race due to personal family matters that require my immediate attention. He apologized vaguely for any harm caused to those who trusted our family. He did not name Marcus. He did not acknowledge the hush money. But the press smelled blood, and they began digging. Within a week, 3 ex-girlfriends had given interviews. The financial records were verified by investigative journalists. Marcus's pattern of behavior was national news. The Aldridge family's perfect facade crumbled in real time on social media. The unexpected twist. Vanessa thought it was over. She was wrong. Julia appeared at her door one evening, mascara-stained and desperate. Please, you have to help me. Marcus kicked me out. He says I ruined everything. I have nowhere to go. Vanessa stared at her cousin, the woman who'd betrayed her in the worst possible way. Every instinct screamed to slam the door in her face. Instead, she said, come in. Julia looked shocked. Really? You can stay here tonight. Tomorrow, you figure out your next move. But Julia? Vanessa's voice turned cold. This doesn't mean I forgive you. This doesn't mean we're family again. This means I'm choosing to be kind even when you don't deserve it. Because that's who I am, not who you are. Julia broke down crying. I'm so sorry. I was jealous. You had everything, the perfect life, the perfect family, and I wanted what you had. I wanted to matter to someone the way you mattered to Marcus. I didn't matter to Marcus. None of us did. That's the point you keep missing. That night, Julia slept in the guest room. By morning, Eleanor had made arrangements for Julia to stay with a distant relative in Florida, far from Connecticut and the wreckage she'd helped create. As Julia left, she hugged Vanessa. Thank you, she whispered, for being better than me. You're welcome, Vanessa said. Now go be better than you were. The new beginning. 6 weeks after the wedding that never happened, Vanessa sat in the sunroom with Rita, David, and Simone. The news had moved on to other scandals. Marcus had left Connecticut entirely. Rumors said he was in California, trying to reinvent himself. Robert Aldridge had resigned from his company's board. The family empire was crumbling from within. Do you feel better? Rita asked. Did this heal anything? Vanessa considered the question carefully. No, not healed, but transformed. I'm not the same person I was before. I'm stronger, more aware, less trusting, maybe, but that's not always a bad thing. David raised his coffee cup. To transformation, then. They toasted, an odd group brought together by betrayal and bound by the pursuit of justice. As they talked, Vanessa's phone buzzed. An email from an address she didn't recognize. Subject line: Thank you. Dear Vanessa, you don't know me, but I was engaged to Marcus 4 years ago. He cheated on me too, and when I confronted him, he made me feel crazy, like I was imagining things. I broke off the engagement and spent years thinking I'd made a mistake, that I'd let the love of my life go over paranoia. Seeing your story, seeing the other women come forward, I realized I wasn't crazy. I was right. You saved me from years of self-doubt. Thank you for being brave enough to expose him. You gave me my sanity back. Jennifer. Vanessa showed the email to the group. Simone smiled. That's why it mattered. But the last line of the email made Vanessa's blood run cold. P.S. Marcus reached out to me last week. He's using a different name now, claiming he's changed. He's in California, working at a startup, and he's already dating someone new. I thought you should know. Someone needs to warn her before it's too late. The revenge wasn't over. It had just found its next chapter. The ultimate payback. The California connection. Vanessa stared at the email for a long time after everyone else had left. Marcus was in California, using a different name, starting over as if the past could be erased like a file deleted from a hard drive. But people weren't computers. Damage didn't disappear just because you wanted it to. She forwarded the email to Rita. Can you verify this? Rita's response came back in under an hour. Already on it. His new name is Mark Aldrich. Dropped the Dage. Thinks that makes him someone new. He's working at a tech startup in San Francisco called Innovex Solutions. And yes, he's dating someone. Her name is Lily Park, 28, software engineer, no social media presence worth mentioning. She's smart, low profile, and completely clueless about who he really is. Vanessa made a decision that surprised even herself. Book me a flight to San Francisco. I need to meet her. Her mother appeared in the doorway, having overheard. Absolutely not. You're done with this, Vanessa. You exposed him. You won. Don't chase him across the country. I'm not chasing him, Mom. I'm chasing the truth. What if I can stop him from doing to Lily what he did to me? What if I can break the cycle? Eleanor's expression softened. And what if she doesn't believe you? What if Marcus has already poisoned her against you? Then at least I tried. The flight west. On the plane to San Francisco, Vanessa reviewed everything Rita had compiled on Lily Park. MIT graduate, 3 patents in machine learning, worked at Google before joining the startup. She was brilliant, accomplished, and according to several professional profiles, passionate about ethical AI development. In other words, exactly the kind of woman Marcus would target. Successful enough to make him look good, smart enough to be interesting, but isolated enough, new to San Francisco, small social circle, to be vulnerable to his manipulation. Vanessa felt sick. The pattern was so clear once you knew to look for it. David had insisted on coming with her. You need backup, he'd said. Marcus might be using a different name, but he's still dangerous. Not physically, but emotionally. I've seen how he operates. You need someone who can't be manipulated. Now, sitting beside her on the plane, he asked, what's the plan? I approach her directly. I tell her the truth. I show her the evidence. And if Marcus finds out, let him. I'm not hiding anymore. The coffee shop warning. Lily Park agreed to meet at a cafe in the Mission District. Vanessa had reached out through LinkedIn with a vague message about mutual connections and important information. To her surprise, Lily had responded within hours, curious and cautiously open. The cafe was bright and busy, filled with the hum of conversation and the hiss of espresso machines. Lily sat in the corner, laptop open, looking exactly like her photos, petite, sharp-eyed, with an air of focused intelligence that reminded Vanessa painfully of herself 5 years ago. Lily Park. Vanessa approached with a careful smile. That's me. Vanessa Chun, right? Lily closed her laptop, studying Vanessa with the analytical gaze of someone who made a living solving complex problems. Your message was intriguing. What mutual connections are we talking about? Vanessa sat down, David hanging back near the entrance as planned. There's no easy way to say this, so I'm just going to be direct. The man you're dating, Mark Aldrich? His real name is Marcus Aldrich, and he's not who he says he is. Lily's expression didn't change, but her shoulders tensed. That's quite an accusation. Do you have proof? Or is this some kind of ex-girlfriend drama? I was supposed to marry him. 4 months ago. Until I found out he'd been cheating on me with my cousin for months, possibly years. Vanessa pulled out her tablet, opened the folder Rita had prepared. This is Marcus at our engagement party. This is the wedding program. These are the articles about what happened when I exposed him at the altar. Lily took the tablet, scrolling through with increasing speed. Her face remained neutral, but her hands started to shake slightly. Mark told me he was from Connecticut. He said he left because of a business deal that went bad. He said his family was estranged. The business deal was his father's political career, which tanked when evidence came out that they'd been paying off Marcus's victims for years. The family estrangement happened because Marcus is a serial cheater and manipulator who's left a trail of broken women across the East Coast. The defenders doubt. This could all be fake, Lily said, but her voice lacked conviction. Photoshop. Revenge tactics. Maybe you're just a bitter ex. I thought you might say that. Vanessa pulled up a video file. This is from Marcus's own Instagram, before he deleted it. Look at the background. That's the same apartment and photos you've posted. Same distinctive bookshelf, same vintage travel posters. He moves fast, doesn't he? New city, new name, same patterns. Lily watched the video, and Vanessa saw the moment recognition hit. The color drained from her face. When was this taken? 3 months ago. Right before he moved to San Francisco. Right before he met you. We started dating 2 months ago. Lily's voice was barely a whisper. He said he'd just gotten out of a toxic relationship. That his ex was controlling and paranoid. That he needed a fresh start with someone rational. Vanessa felt the familiar ache of recognition. He told me the same thing about his previous girlfriend. It's part of the pattern. He makes you think you're different, special, the one who finally understands him. Meanwhile, he's already scouting his next target. Lily set the tablet down, her engineer's mind clearly processing data, running scenarios, calculating probabilities. Why are you here? If you exposed him already, why track him across the country? Because I got an email from another ex-girlfriend warning me that he's doing it again. Because I know what he's capable of. Because maybe if I'd known the truth earlier, I could have saved myself years of wasted life. Vanessa leaned forward. I'm not here for revenge against him anymore. I'm here to break the cycle. To give you the information I wish someone had given me. The evidence mounts. I need to think about this, Lily said, standing abruptly. This is a lot to process. Wait. Vanessa pulled out a business card with Rita's information. If you don't believe me, hire this investigator. She's thorough, discreet, and she'll find the truth. Or talk to these women. She handed over a list of names and contact information. They're all Marcus's exes. They've all agreed to speak with anyone who asks. We're trying to build a network, a warning system. So he can't keep doing this. Lily took the card and the list, tucking them into her pocket. Her eyes were wet, but she wasn't crying. If what you're saying is true, if Marcus, whoever he is, has been lying to me this whole time. She trailed off. Then you'll have a choice to make, Vanessa finished. Just like I did. You can confront him, you can leave quietly, or you can make him face consequences. Whatever you choose, you'll have support. You won't be alone. Lily nodded once, sharply, and walked out of the cafe. David joined Vanessa at the table. Think she believed you? I think she wants to not believe me. But the evidence is too strong. She's a scientist. She follows data. Vanessa watched through the window as Lily stood on the sidewalk, phone in hand, clearly torn about what to do next. She'll investigate. And when she does, she'll find out I'm telling the truth. And then what? Then we wait and see what kind of person she is. The confrontation. 3 days later, Vanessa's phone rang at 2 a.m. She answered groggily. Hello. He lied about everything. Lily's voice was eerily calm, the kind of calm that came after a storm had already destroyed everything. I hired your investigator. I called the women on your list. I went through his apartment while he was at work. I found a burner phone with texts to 3 other women. 3. While he's been dating me. While he's been telling me he loves me. Vanessa sat up, fully awake now. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be ready. I'm going to destroy him, and I need your help. The alliance forms. They met at Lily's apartment the next morning. It was sparse and minimalist, filled with whiteboards covered in equations and half-assembled electronics projects. Lily had clearly not slept. She'd spent the night documenting everything, creating spreadsheets, compiling evidence with the precision of someone building a criminal case. This is what I know, Lily said, pulling up her laptop. Mark, has been running a credit card scam. He opens cards in fake names using stolen SSNs, runs up charges, then disappears before anyone connects it to him. I found documentation in a hidden cloud account. He's been doing this for at least a year. Vanessa's eyes widened. That's identity theft. That's federal. That's prison time, Lily corrected. And I have evidence. Photos of documents, account numbers, transaction histories. He's been using his victims' personal information. Yours included, Vanessa. He opened a card in your name 6 months ago. The betrayal hit Vanessa like a physical blow. It wasn't enough to break her heart. He'd been stealing from her too. Why didn't I know about this? Because he's smart. He used your old address, had the statement sent to a P.O. box, kept the balance low enough not to trigger alerts. But it's there, in your credit history. I checked. David, who'd been listening silently, spoke up. This changes everything. This isn't just about cheating anymore. This is serious crime. We need to contact the FBI. Not yet, Lily said. Her expression was cold, calculating. First, we need to make sure we have everything. Every victim, every stolen identity, every dollar. We build an airtight case. Then we hand him over. But we do it right. Vanessa saw herself reflected in Lily's determination. This was what she'd looked like after the wedding, after the shock had worn off and the clarity had set in. What do you need from me? Everything. Every document, every photo, every piece of evidence you have. We're going to bury him so deep he'll never see daylight again. The setup. Over the next 2 weeks, Vanessa and Lily became an unlikely team. They worked from Lily's apartment, coordinating with Rita, pulling in David's political research skills, contacting every woman Marcus had ever dated. The network grew. 12 women. 14. 20. Each one had a story. Each one had been manipulated, gaslit, betrayed. And many of them had been victims of Marcus's identity theft without even knowing it. He's been doing this his whole adult life, Rita reported during one of their video calls. I traced it back to college. He started small, stealing credit card numbers from girlfriends, using their information to fund his lifestyle. As he got older, he got smarter, more sophisticated. He's stolen over $300,000 in the last 5 years alone. How has he not been caught? Lily demanded. Because he's careful. He moves around. He uses different names. He targets women who are isolated, who won't compare notes with each other. And when things get hot, he disappears. Rita paused. Until now? Until all of you decided to talk to each other. The plan they developed was intricate. They would feed Marcus false information through Lily, making him think his crimes were still secret. Meanwhile, they compiled everything for the FBI. Bank records, statements from victims, digital forensics showing the trail of stolen identities. But Vanessa wanted something more. I want him to know it was us. I want him to understand that we're not just victims. We're the people who ended him. The final trap. The confrontation was set for a Friday night. Lily invited Marcus to her apartment for dinner, claiming she wanted to talk about moving in together. He arrived with flowers and wine, playing the perfect boyfriend. What he didn't know was that Vanessa and David were in the bedroom, recording. Rita was outside in a van with law enforcement, ready to move in. And Lily was wearing a wire. Mark, we need to talk, Lily said as soon as he walked in. That sounds ominous, Marcus joked, kissing her cheek. Should I be worried? You should be honest. About who you really are. Marcus's smile faltered. What do you mean? I mean Marcus Aldrich. I mean the wedding you ran from. I mean the women you've cheated on, stolen from, destroyed. Lily's voice was steady, fearless. I mean all of it. Every lie, every manipulation, every crime. Marcus's face went through several expressions: confusion, denial, fear, and finally, cold anger. Who told you this? Was it Vanessa? Did that bitter bitch track me down? I'm right here, Vanessa said, stepping out of the bedroom. Marcus actually stumbled backward. What the hell, Vanessa? You can't let me go? You had to follow me across the country. I came to warn Lily. Turns out, I didn't need to. She figured you out all on her own. You're crazy. Both of you. This is harassment. This is justice, Lily corrected. She pulled out her laptop, turned it so Marcus could see the screen. That's your credit card scam. That's the evidence of identity theft. That's documentation of fraud spanning 5 years. And that's the FBI warrant for your arrest that's about to be executed. Marcus's face went white. You can't prove any of that. We can prove all of it, Vanessa said. 23 women, Marcus. 23 women you stole from. We found each other. We compared notes. We built a case. And you're done. The arrest. The knock on the door came exactly on cue. FBI. Open up. Marcus looked at the door, looked at Lily and Vanessa, and made a decision Vanessa saw coming from a mile away. He bolted for the fire escape. He made it 3 steps before David emerged from the bedroom and tripped him. Marcus went down hard, cursing. The FBI agents came through the door seconds later. Marcus Aldridge, you're under arrest for identity theft, credit card fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit fraud. The lead agent, a stern woman named Chun, no relation, she'd confirmed with Vanessa earlier, cuffed him while reading his rights. Marcus struggled. This is illegal. This is entrapment. My father is. Your father is a disgraced former politician with no power and no friends. Agent Chun interrupted. You're on your own, Mr. Aldridge. Finally, as they led him away, Marcus looked at Vanessa one last time. You really couldn't just let me go, could you? You had to destroy me. No, Marcus, Vanessa said quietly. You destroyed yourself. I just made sure everyone else knew about it. The aftermath. The trial took 6 months. Marcus pleaded not guilty, hired expensive lawyers his family couldn't really afford anymore, and tried to paint himself as the victim of vindictive ex-girlfriends. It didn't work. 23 women testified. Rita's evidence was airtight. The digital forensics were damning. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours before returning guilty verdicts on all counts. Marcus was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison and ordered to pay restitution to all his victims. The judge, a stern older man who'd seen enough con artists for several lifetimes, had harsh words for him. Mr. Aldridge, you've displayed a pattern of predatory behavior that speaks to a fundamental lack of character. You targeted vulnerable women, you exploited their trust, and you committed serious crimes without remorse. This sentence reflects not just the crimes you've committed, but the lives you've damaged. I hope you use your time to reflect on the person you've become. Vanessa watched from the gallery as Marcus was led away in handcuffs. She felt no triumph, no joy, just a quiet sense of closure. The new normal. 6 months after the trial, Vanessa stood in her new office in San Francisco. She'd moved to California permanently, started a consulting firm helping small businesses with strategic planning. Her first client had been Lily's startup. Lily had become more than an ally. She'd become a friend. They met for coffee every week, compared notes on healing, on moving forward, on building lives that weren't defined by Marcus's betrayal. I got an email from another woman today, Lily said during one of their meetings. Someone Marcus dated in college. She saw the news coverage and realized she'd been one of his early victims. She wanted to thank us. How many does that make now? 37 women who've reached out. And we've started a website, a resource for victims of romantic fraud. David's helping with the legal information. Rita's consulting on what red flags to look for. Vanessa smiled. We turned a nightmare into something useful. That's one way to look at it. Lily paused. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you'd married him? If you'd never found that photo? All the time. I'd probably still be living a lie, wondering why I felt so hollow. Vanessa looked out the window at the San Francisco skyline. In a weird way, that anonymous text was the best thing that ever happened to me. Who do you think sent it? I have my theories. Vanessa had her suspicions it was Sophia, Marcus's rebel sister, but she'd never been able to prove it. Sophia had disappeared after their coffee meeting, moved to Europe according to rumors. But it doesn't really matter. What matters is what I did with the information. The unexpected visitor. The knock on Vanessa's office door came on a Tuesday afternoon. She looked up from her laptop to see a young woman standing in the doorway, nervous and determined. Are you Vanessa Chun? The woman asked. I am. Can I help you? My name is Amanda Foster. I'm Marcus Aldridge's new lawyer's assistant. She glanced over her shoulder, then stepped inside and closed the door. I'm not supposed to be here, but I found something in the case files. Something that wasn't presented at trial, and I think you need to see it. Vanessa's heart sank. What kind of something? Amanda pulled out a folder. Letters. From Marcus to his father, written over the last 10 years. They detail everything. Every woman he targeted, every scam he ran. And they make it clear that his father knew about all of it. Robert Aldridge wasn't just complicit. He was coaching Marcus on how to avoid getting caught. The implications hit Vanessa like a truck. His father's trial is next month. Exactly. These letters could change everything. They prove conspiracy. They prove that Robert wasn't just covering up his son's crimes. He was actively participating in them. Amanda looked scared but resolute. I could lose my job for this. But I watched those women testify. I heard what Marcus did to you, to all of them. And I can't let his father walk away clean when he's just as guilty. Vanessa took the folder with trembling hands. Why me? Why not take this straight to the prosecutors? Because they might bury it to avoid complicating the case. But you? You've proven you won't stop until the truth comes out. So I'm giving you the choice of what to do with it. The final confrontation. Vanessa spent that night reading every letter. They were damning. Robert Aldridge hadn't just known about Marcus's crimes. He'd encouraged them. He'd taught Marcus how to hide assets, how to exploit women's emotions, how to use charm as a weapon. One letter, written when Marcus was 23, was particularly chilling. Dad, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Sarah is starting to ask questions about the credit cards. I feel guilty. Robert's response, found in the same folder. Guilt is for people who can't afford to have what they want. You're an Aldridge. We take what we need, and we don't apologize. If Sarah is becoming a problem, end it and move on. There are always more women. Just be smarter about covering your tracks. Vanessa felt sick reading them. This wasn't just a son gone wrong. This was generational abuse, a father teaching his son that women were resources to be exploited. She called Lily, David, and Rita. They met at her apartment that night. We have to take this to the prosecutors, David said immediately. Robert's trial starts in 3 weeks. This evidence could put him away for decades. It could also reopen Marcus's case, Rita added. Show that he was groomed for this behavior. It might reduce his sentence. Would that be so terrible? Lily asked quietly. If Marcus was taught to be a monster by his father, doesn't that matter? Vanessa looked at each of them. Marcus is an adult. He made his own choices. But Robert? Robert created a system of abuse. He weaponized his son. How many other families has he done this to? How many other children has he corrupted? The decision was unanimous. They took the letters to the prosecutors the next morning.